All right. Okay.
GC, GC motherfucking MMA. No, I'm kidding, bro. I'm not. I'm not,
All right,
I'm not,
bro.
I'm not shitting on it. All right, GC MMA guys, coming to you right now with our slightly delayed reaction to this weekend's card. As you can see, it's a little bit of a different setup. This just goes to show how dedicated we are to getting these videos out this time around. We're not missing shit again. We had to hop on the Zoom this time and get this shit done.
Yeah, we're pulling out all the tools for this channel. Like we couldn't meet together in person for this one, so we just hopped on the Zoom and the card was all right. I mean, it what do you expect with a women's main event card at the
It,
Apex?
it
We
was
had a
better than the two of us to fight night, and that's for damn sure.
yeah, that actually does say a lot. I mean, speaking of fat heavyweights,
Yeah, yeah, starting off
start off with
Muhammad
the first
Usman.
fight.
Yeah, Mick Parkin, Muhammad Usman, guys. We had just had a hunch that Mick Parkin was better than Muhammad Usman. We tried to tell you. I hope this wasn't a good look. It was Bane's debut on the channel. He's starting off on the wrong foot. I hope you guys didn't tell him in that. We picked Mick Parkin. Like I said, I just knew like Muhammad Usman, he's just not that raw, and he was significantly smaller than Mick Parkin, and especially after the first round, when I saw Mick Parkin eat that shit up against the cage
Yeah.
and Muhammad was throwing, I knew he was gonna run that.
Yeah, and like in that fight, you could tell that Muhammad Usman was a lot less technical than Mick Parkin was. Mick Parkin was piecing him up on the feet. He was eating shots. Muhammad Usman, I mean, like the only thing going behind him was his power in that fight, but Mick Parkin's chin just ate everything.
Yeah.
He was faster and he had the better combinations. And I I was a little worried at first because we've had a history of rogue judges recently, and I was a little worried that the
Yeah.
judges might have done that to Muhammad Usman, but thankfully they made the right decision.
Yeah, it'll be surprising to see where the UFC goes with him from here. I mean, like I said in the lead up, I haven't really been impressed with the guy besides his first fight, and he's coming on a loss now. So they might be able to give him some other guys, but it'll just be interesting to see. He can't fight Josh Parisian because he got cut. So
They're only keeping him around because he's Usman's brother, let's be honest.
all right, next fight of the night, the bite of the night, Igor da Silva versus Andre Lima. Guys, this fight was absolutely ridiculous, and it was fireworks when those little guys doing it.
Yeah.
But are you fucking kidding me? With him biting someone, turning into tied to a Vasa in the cage. Talk about a guy who had a bite of the night.
Tai Tuivasa was thinking about his next bite in that last fight, but
Oh, if I just give up in the first round, that's quick. I can get backstage and get a slice.
I heard they had a Whopper backstage. But but I thought I was watching The Walking Dead at first when I was watching that fight. I had to replay it to see what was actually going on. I oh, I never thought I'd see something like that in my entire life. Like you're biting somebody in the cage. Oh, I'm getting my ass kicked. Oh, I'm gonna go for this.
This is absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, that's pretty much all there is to even talk about that fight.
But
Next
wait.
one,
I wanted to ask
yeah,
if you agree with them cutting him from the
yeah,
UFC.
yeah. You cannot tolerate that behavior, bro. That's
I
ridiculous. You're
I saw
putting,
some people in the comments saying he's only 20, give him a chance. It was in the heat of the moment.
dude, that's a ridiculous amount of liability for the UFC to keep a guy around who's known biting. That's like having a dog that's known for like biting little kids when it comes over and shit, and like you just got to put the dog down.
It's one thing when you're Mike Tyson. It's another when you're some guy on the early prelims of a women's Apex fight night.
Seriously, they made the right decision. Um, Next fight, guys, Juicy J versus Ricardo Ramos. Look, we talk a lot of shit about some of these fighters. We're just being authentic with our opinions, but sometimes we have to eat those words. And Juliana Rosa really shut us up with this fight. I mean, Going back on it, Ricardo Ramos also got submitted by Charles Jourdain. So maybe we should have laid off Julian Erosa just a little bit before the fight, but
Even bro, but at the same time, it's Julian Erosa, dude.
I mean, there's just not much to say. Like
I'm looking at his.
we were
I've got
wrong.
Julian Erosa's record pulled up again just to look at it again, and I still, even if we went back in time, I still don't think I could have picked
If
him to
these
win.
guys, basically what we're saying is that if these guys had a rematch next weekend, I would still probably pick Ricardo Ramos.
That's how like surprised I was to see that, but kudos to him, I guess.
Yeah, seriously, good for him, and congratulations on the newborn. All right, next fight, Kurt Hollowbaugh versus Trey Ogden. Guys, I mean, I kind of had a bad feeling about this fight going in. I just didn't realize that Kurt Hollowbaugh wouldn't have been able to get him out of there on the feet. Trey Ogden is still a pussy, just like Caden Ogborn, for just holding him down for the entire fight and not doing anything. Like Kurt Hollowbaugh was on the bottom saying, "It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna submit me." And while he's kind of an idiot for that,
The final seconds of the round,
like okay, yeah, you're right. You didn't get submitted, but you also
the
got
fucking loss.
dominated. You
Got
dominated.
40, fucking 50, 45.
Yeah, in a three rounder. Yeah, that's really all there is to say about that fight. I'd like to see Kurt Holloway fight a striker. I feel like that's a strong suit. And I guess congratulations to Trey Ogden.
I don't see him winning his next fight. If they if they put him against anybody higher ranked than Kurt Holloway. But
All right, guys. Next fight, another one. We talked a good bit of mess about Yusuf Zalal. That was mainly because we were just trying to rep Billy Q, not really to discredit Yusuf Zalal. I mean, yeah, we did kind of discredit him in the lead up, but regardless, we just had to slide for our boy Billy Q. And I mean, I think he should just give up at this point because that's a little bit ridiculous, to be honest with you. His track record in the UFC got a good opportunity against Edson Barboza and lost, and came back and got like basically a robbery victory against Damon Jackson. I was getting submitted by a guy who wasn't even in the UFC on short notice. That's the Bucks, the Rays, Billy Q, the Lightning have got to slide in the playoffs.
yeah, everything from Tampa, we need to slide this year. We need some more Tampa fighters, bro. We can't just have Billy Q as our representative.
Because we're never going anywhere.
Like he's
But
training at the Gracie Riverview or something.
yeah, he owns his own gym in Tampa. Apparently, Hunter Rambo said he trained with him before.
Oh my
Hunter,
God.
Hunter Rambo
I wish
said Billy Q's like a dick in the gym, like that some guy was going a little bit hard on Billy Q in sparring, and then Billy Q picked the guy up and slammed him on the ground and kneed him in the ribs.
honestly, bro, I can kind of see that because Billy Q was looking pissed off when he was like getting pieced up on the feet by Yusuf Zalal.
Your training partner, but
But
that's beside the point.
yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take back most of the shit I said about Yusuf Zalal. I mean,
He's kind of fly.
he looked pretty fast out there. He had nice combos, and I think I see him doing pretty well in that division, to be honest. I'm not gonna say top 10, top 5, but
He's fast.
definitely top 15.
Yeah. The next fight, guys, is the perfect example of why we just speak our mind when it comes to these fights, regardless. We talked a lot of shit about Yusuf Zalal. We talked a lot of shit about Juicy J, but we also talked a lot of shit about Cameron Simon. And this one came right.
For good
Sometimes
reason.
right, sometimes you're wrong. You just have to put it all out there and see what happens. But Peyton Talbot, dude, that guy is definitely exciting me for the fights to come up. I mean, from the very some people are saying, "Oh, that was an early stoppage or whatever." It was like, look, dude, can you argue Cameron Simon might have been able to get back up to his feet? Sure,
Yeah.
but would he have still got his ass kicked? Yeah, like
The
Peyton
rep
Talbot was ridiculously dynamic.
Yeah, the ref saved a few years from Cameron Simon's life expectancy. If that fight was to go on any longer, he would have just got 10 more punches and knees and kicks to the head.
Yeah, he was just outclassed straight up.
Yeah, I was not surprised at all. We saw that coming completely. I was really impressed with Peyton Talbot's debut fight, so
Yeah,
against Nick Aguirre, and I thought that his combos was like the cleanest part of the fight. He has really slick combos. He's fast, and I see him doing a lot of damage in this division, to be honest. I just keep him away from Marab. Keep him
yeah,
away from any
yeah. For now, for
wrestler.
now. But like people have been saying, give him Davy Grant. I like that matchup for him.
Yeah.
And people are like, it's a very, very far stretch, but people are saying like, imagine in a couple of years if Peyton Talbot runs it with Sean O'Malley, that shit would be fly.
Yeah, that would be crazy, but obviously this is only his second fight in the
Yeah,
UFC. So
yeah. He unless he were to step in on like 3 hour notice for a title fight. I don't see him getting that shit.
like
3 hour notice, like they pull him from like the stand and get him in there.
he's like he's in the stands, but he I could see him the type to be in the stands, but he's like watching the fight in the arena with AirPods in. He's like bumping Sigma music or
Yeah,
something.
that's ridiculous. But guys, wanted to point this out. Our lock of the week was Edmund Shabazian. Like we said last week, we didn't have a video for the card, so this is technically we're 3 for 3 so far with the lock of the week. And that was what I was telling my friend who hit us up and he pointed out and said, yeah, you guys were 3 and 3 last week. And I agreed. Yeah, we were 50-50 on who we picked. But if you were to take these for what they were, and the lock of the week should obviously be treated like the lock, then like for example, we still made money off this card because we bet the same amount on all the other fighters. And then on the lock, we damn near quadrupled the amount that we were putting on them. And we still even going 50-50. Like you just have to treat these fights if you're betting on them in a way where you're putting more money on this stuff you're confident in and then just sprinkling on the other shit because I knew Edmund Shabazian was going to outclass AJ Dobson. And once again, I really hope you guys didn't take Bane's pick of the week because he picked AJ Dobson and he looked like a fish out of water there.
Seeing a little trend with Bane's picks.
Pick of the week.
But yeah, I Edmund Shabazian's one of those fighters where like he's like a slow starter. He like downloads the information and he was getting rocked in the beginning in that first round. I was a little nervous, but in the second round, he got his reads, he got his timing, and he put him away. I mean, a, a decent performance. I wouldn't say impressive, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
And
Sure, sure.
our strategic betting still put us in the green after going uh
3 for 3.
three for
Yeah.
three, 50%, but we're still in the green, boys, and we're gonna keep this bankroll building into the next card next week.
So that brings us to the last fight, guys. We told you, do not bet on Justin Tafa. Am I at all impressed by Carl Williams? No. Nobody wants to watch a heavyweight matchup with a fight like that. But Justin Tafa, I mean, what is his future? Like put him on the cards that are in the Australian New Zealand region with a guy that they know is basically just getting fed to him like figuratively and literally this fat ass so, so that he can like get a good highlight. But like you put him again, like the thing about this that annoys me is that he would have probably beat DeLima and Junior Toffa might have been able to beat Carl Williams if he had a full training camp, but the brothers flip flopped the two and then they both lost.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm just done. I've After Tai Tuivasa, we learned our mistake of betting on fat Samoans. And like being fat in the heavyweight division is just not cutting it anymore, I guess. Like the fighters are getting better. You can't just be fat with power and have no other skills in in these fights. I mean, he got taken down for the basically the entire fight. I feel like if he had any sort of grappling training, he could have stood up because Carl Williams is not that impressive of a wrestler.
Guys,
But
and in a world with Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn, and those types of athletic guys, being fat just isn't making the cut anymore.
the overweight division is not as good as it once was. I mean, let's just face the facts. Are we still gonna ride with people like Derek Lewis though? If you could, here's the thing:
Depends on the matchup.
Six pack Derek Lewis is better than fat Derek Lewis. So
Dude,
it just
okay,
depends on his matchup.
if Kai Tuivasa comes in his next fight and he's like shredded to the gills, then yes, of course we'll pick him.
Dude.
But that guy literally had a Taco Bell 12 pack in his training room when he was getting gloved up for the main event. So I don't see that shit coming anytime soon.
2 weeks before the fight, he's in like a club, like smoking joints on Instagram Live, eating fast food. Not
Even two
giving.
weeks before the fight, bro. He was eating fast food 2 hours before the fight. Come on, bro. If he
Like,
had somehow, if he had some sort of sick and twisted tactic to where he was trying to make himself have to shit really bad, so he would fight with more urgency because he needed to get out of the octagon to go take a shit.
bro, maybe if he didn't have 12 tacos in his gut, he could have stood up against Marcin Tybura.
But
Oh,
anyways, guys, that is our reaction and recap to Namajunas versus Ribas. We just wanted to get this quick video done. Like we said, we're trying to push out more content for everybody. We're trying to keep the locomotive moving, trying to keep the train going on the tracks and keep going up this year, boys. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Later this week sometime, we're gonna get a video filmed for the Atlantic City card. I can't even remember who the main event of that is anymore. I think it's Manel Fierro
Allen
or no, it's Fierro versus
Blanchfield.
yeah versus Blanchfield. We're gonna get a video recorded for that this week, guys, and there's a lot of fights on there that we're gonna want to talk about and that we feel good about. So stay tuned for that video.
Yeah, we're gonna come back with another bankroll update for next week. Gonna end up in the green again, but
It's basically automatic every week at this point.
yeah, it's guaranteed. Follow us on Instagram. That's where we post the results for our betting and our picks. And we're starting to upload more content on there. So check us out on Instagram.
Yep. Until then, guys, GCMMA out.
It's